Quote, the cream always rises to the top. Have you ever heard that saying? I have. I've heard it many times, especially growing up. And that is true. In this case, the cream is persistence. I'm Tyrone Bowman. This is Tyrone Bowman Tonight. In a few moments, I will bring the final teaching of this lesson and the conclusion concerning persistence. We all need it. We have to have it. Believe it or not, all individuals have the same thing. They just don't use it. Each one of us, we have the same talents in terms of persistence, that is. Now, we all have gifts and talents and abilities that differ from each other. But what we do with them is up to us. No one is going to give us anything in this life. We're going to have to fight for it. We're going to have to work for it. And sometimes it may be long and it may be hard. As an inspirational, motivational teacher, I'm uncompromising in my teaching. I'm very bold, straightforward. That's what separates me from the motivational speakers. I'm not going to play with it. Why? Because life does not play with people. When you're growing up, no matter how many talents you may have, no matter how gifted you are, we still have to learn how to use and cultivate everything that we have. The scripture says that the hand of the diligent shall be what? Shall be made to prosper. Shall be made rich, prosper. When you are diligent in what you do, when you are diligent and pursuing with excellence, despite what is perceived to be hardships and the odds being against you and I, we still must pursue with excellence and be determined to overcome it all. I remember reading the book entitled Succeeding Against the Odds. That book stirred my spirit in such a way because I was reading about an African American, a black man in segregated America who was determined to start his own publishing company, which was unheard of in the year 1945. But he had a vision in his mind. He had a vision in his soul. He was ignited with passion in his spirit. And he was determined to get the capital. No bank would loan it to him because in those days they didn't lend money to black people. Get a copy of the book. Get the email version of it. Get the computerized version or get the paper version. But read it and study the life of John H. Johnson, the founder of the Johnson Publishing Company, aka Ebony and Jet magazines. They built the first owned all-black publishing company in downtown Chicago, completely paid for. That organization, that company employed over 3,000 people with great salaries. It made $500 million a year. And too many individuals make excuses for not succeeding. Making excuses is not going to get the job done. Let me read something to you. It pays to be persistent. Persistence is a state of mind, therefore it can be cultivated. Like all states of mind, persistence is based upon definite causes, among them these, and I'm going to quote them in a minute. Kate Smith, listen, according to the author of Think and Grow Rich, and here is an encouraging statement which carries with it a suggestion of great significance. Thousands of singers who excel, Kate Smith, are walking up and down Broadway looking for a break without success. Countless others have come and gone. Many of them sang well enough, but they failed to make the grade because they lacked the courage to keep on until Broadway became tired of turning them away. So, these are some of the things concerning persistence. A, definiteness of purpose. Knowing what one wants in the first and perhaps the most important step toward the development of persistence. 2, desire. It is comparatively easy to acquire and to maintain persistence in pursuing the object of intense desire. C, self-reliance. Belief in one's ability to carry out a plan encourages one to follow the plan through with persistence, or self-reliance can be developed to the principles described. D, definiteness of plans. Organized plans, even though they may be weak and entirely impractical, encourage persistence, accurate knowledge. Knowing that one's plans are sound based upon experience or observation encourages persistence. Guessing instead of knowing destroys persistence. Cooperation, sympathy, understanding, and harmonious cooperation with others tend to develop persistence. Willpower, the habit of concentrating one's thoughts upon the building of plans for the attainment of a definite purpose, leads to persistence. H, habit. Persistence is the direct result of habit. The mind absorbs and becomes a part of the daily experiences upon which it feeds. Fear, the worst of all enemies, can be effectively cured by forced repetition of acts of courage. Everyone who has seen active service in the war knows this. Ladies and gentlemen, you already have the recipe. You already have what it takes to succeed. You were given it a long time ago, but individuals really need to just do it. And don't you know, if you fail to recognize and to clearly define exactly what one wants, you're not going to get there. Procrastination, with or without cause, usually backed up with a formidable array of alibis and excuses, it won't get the job done. Indecision, the habit of relying upon alibis. Self-satisfaction, the habit of blaming others for one's mistakes. Weakness of desire, willingness, lack of organized plans, wishing instead of willing. I know a lot of people, they're great wishers, they're great prayers. Oh, they can pray like there's no tomorrow. They can do so many things, but you know what? They lack the will to succeed. They lack the will to just get out there and do it. They won't persistently pursue it. They're great talkers. They'll encourage others and tell others what to do. I don't have time just to be a talker. I have to be a doer. I'm on a mission to build, to expand, to grow, to have something that's worth having hundreds and even thousands of people to come out and listen to. And then they can take it and go and make it work for them in their lives. Right where you are, you can succeed. You can go from one nation to another and starve to death. Or you can make up in your mind a purpose in your heart that you're going to excel, you're going to grow, you're going to prosper, you're going to exceed beyond everyone's expectations or limitations. And don't tell others what you're doing. And for God's sakes, don't waste time talking to your so-called friends or family members about your plans. Because once you do that, they will be the main ones to discourage you, to put you down, to tell you what you can and cannot do. Because why? They're going to remember all the dumb things that we all ever said and did when we were growing up. I remember growing up and I wanted to be a broadcaster. I wanted to be a radio announcer. And it was unheard of virtually in our neighborhood. Yet we heard hundreds of radio people talking all the time. I had a dream in my mind. I kept envisioning it. And those, my brothers and their friends, they were great sports people and enthusiasts, athletically built and inclined, but it wouldn't let me play with them. I said, all right, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to have my own little radio station on the street corner. They laughed and laughed. And when the carpenters would be finished working in the day, I would get the pieces of plywood, get 6 crates, and then 3 more to sit on top of, and put the plywood on top of the crates, and get a piece of wood, and act like I had a microphone. And I would do play-by-play, no matter what they were playing: wall ball, hopscotch, soccer, street football, baseball, jacks, etc. It didn't matter. And after a while, the older people had a form of entertainment that they had to look forward to every night. Because during those times, the days were long, much longer than what they are now. It took forever for the sun to go down. And we would find things to do. And I began to become that announcer. And it wasn't until after I left high school, because they asked me when I was in high school, what do you want to be? I said, a broadcaster, a singer. I still sing. But broadcasting was at the forefront of my mind. And I had an opportunity talking to a friend of mine. They told me about a place called the American Academy of Broadcasting. I went there for 2 years, and they taught me not just the basics, but the intricacies of broadcasting. Yes, they taught us mathematics, believe it or not. Scales, schematics, algebra, trigonometry. Used to get on my nerves. So I wasn't great at math. So I had to go into the lunchroom after class and stay there for hours. They taught me about punctuality. And that's the reason why I'm working in radio today. Preparation meets opportunity. God cannot gift you what you're not ready for. The doors will not open for you. Listen, stop wasting your life. Stop wasting your gifts. Stop wasting your talents. Because time will exceed you. It will pass you by one day. And the break that you think that's going to come to you, you have to make the break happen for yourself. It's not going to just happen. You have to understand you've got to start. Get started. So what if you don't have everything you need? Riches do not respond to wishes. They respond only to definite plans backed by definite desires through constant persistence, said Napoleon Hill. Have a burning desire. Have a passion. Get ignited with fire. And then don't listen to people. Don't let people tell you what you can't be, do, and have. Learn to live, laugh, and love. Don't let people tell you where you can go and where you can't go. Don't let people tell you that you have to subscribe to their way of thinking. Don't let them tell you you have to believe the way they believe in order to succeed. A lot of people believe in prophecy so much until the prophecy has nullified them and dumbified them, and they're afraid to go out into the world and succeed. Wealth, power, riches, success, it's all out there, but you've got to make up in your mind and get started on the pathway, get started on the road. Stop wasting time and get the job done. If you are athletically inclined, get out there and succeed. Get your pot of gold at the end of your rainbow. Woo, says the Ric Flair. So to thine own self be true, and it must follow as the night the day. Thou canst not then be false to any man, wrote the poet. Oh yes, get it together. Succeed, grow, expand, believe, excel, prosper. Don't let anyone stop you. It doesn't matter how many times you failed in the past. It doesn't matter how many times people told you that you couldn't get it done. It doesn't matter how many times you promised yourself. Every new year, people make promises. They're not going to do this, they're not going to do that, and they break their promises. So what? Get up, get it together, get back out there, and do it anyway. Prosper anyway. Do it anyway. It doesn't. You don't have to have it all together. I'm going to say that again. You don't have to have it all together when you first start out. So what? You've only got one suit. Keep it clean. Keep that shirt clean. And you'll find out that as you continue to persistently pursue with excellence in your mind, see it in your mind, envision it in your mind, and it won't be long before you will be a part of the winner's circle. Never surrender, never quit.